It's the Nigerian queen. Oh, no, I'm just joking. I hope you guys are ready because I'm about to show you how I Americanized Nigerian okra stew. So if you're checking it out, it doesn't look extremely slimy, doesn't it? Nope, it doesn't. So I'm hoping that you guys will stick around and let me show you how I made this. And stay tuned for the mukbang, y'all, because the mukbang will be coming out on a future date. So first of all, I want to give a huge shout out to CC JEMIMAH's recipes, okay, because I learned this, I believe she's Nigerian, but I learned this from her. I just took what I could do and I gave what I could give. Okay, I'm in America, I'm in Washington State, and I know nothing about African food, you guys. And we don't have a lot of African restaurants out here. I would have to drive almost 2 hours. So I wanted to try to prepare this because what I saw her preparing looked amazing. So I know right off the bat that it's not going to taste like a replica of hers or any okra stew. But I got as close to it as I could with the ingredients that I had access to. So the meats that I chose to use was cow foot, beef brisket, and some tripe. Okay, so I'm letting this gonna simmer on about a medium heat for about 15 minutes to kind of soak up some of the water. You don't want to add any water to this pot. I also add in 2 chicken bouillon powders. And then I added in like a teaspoon of sea salt. And so I'm just going to stir this up. I also added in yellow and red onion. And I'm just going to finely chop. And I'm just going to stir this in as best as I could. Put a top on it and let it simmer to kind of soak up some of the liquid. Because I really like the consistency of CC's. CC JEMIMAH's. Or it could be called SISI. But I really like the consistency of her okra stew. Okay, and I watched about 3 or 4 different videos, and so hers seemed like it would taste the best. I don't know, it was just her presentation. But anyways, that's what we're doing in here in this footage, and so that's what you want to do if you're gonna start off doing this, I guess the American way. The American way. Okay, so the next thing I noticed is that you typically want to use fresh okra that's whole already for this dish. I didn't have access to fresh okra, whole okra. The ones that I saw at the Asian market were like kind of not even good quality. They were getting old and they costed like the price was like through the roof. So I went to the next best thing and I went to my local grocery store and got some chopped frozen okra. Okay, so that's what you see here. Now this technique is very important if you do not like the consistency of boiled okra. So CC taught me, and I hope I'm saying that right again, taught me in her video to chop up the okra finely. You want to chop it up very finely if you're going to get a consistency that when you mix everything together, that doesn't come out extremely slimy. However, if you do like that, you can take some of these okra, put it in a blender, add a little bit of water, and you will get slime, honey, and add that to your pot if that's the way you want to do it, or you can add a little bit of both. I chose not to, because my husband and my mother were going to be eating this, and my mother doesn't like the consistency of okra. So, boiled okra. So I tried to do it, make it as good as I could with who we're going to eat it. But yeah, so that's the step. Now for this step, I took 2 red bell peppers, and I chopped them up. Took all of the seasonings out, the seeds out, and then I used 1 habanero, and I also used 1 without the seeds because I didn't want it to be too hot, and the seeds hold heat. Okay, and then I also took a little bit of ginger, chopped it up, put it in here, and put a little bit of water in the blender and blended all of this together. Or so I thought that that's what I was going to do, until I got ready to blend it and my blender overheated. So I had to size down, which I'll show you what I mean. Now, I actually want to congratulate my blender for overheating. And the reason is because I was able to get the perfect consistency, almost just like in CeCe's video, how she got her consistency for the sauce that she's getting, that I'm about to show you guys I'm making. Because what I did is I just took half of it and chopped it up by hand, and I left it like finely chopped like this. And then I took the other half and blended it into my small bullet that you see over there. So this all worked out perfectly, and I was very pleasantly surprised. And you guys will see this later on when I get ready to mix those ingredients into the sauce. Now, here's what I had when it came to smoked fish. Okay, I had some freshwater smoked herring, and I also had some smoked mackerel. So I opened this up and I just began to debone it. Now, one thing I noticed is they don't typically use these types of smoked fish. They use something different, but I could not find it all. I could not find it all. I just simply could not find the type of, like I saw one video, one lady used smoked tuna. Like she used a whole smoked tuna and it looked so good. I'm like, man, I ain't never tried smoked tuna before. I definitely got to try that. But we didn't have that. I didn't have access to that. So this is what I used. And I recognized that the smoked mackerel actually went much better. It was just better quality. And it tasted better. It wasn't as salty as the smoked herring. And so I didn't end up using, I might have ended up using only 2 pieces of the smoked herring, and I used majority of the smoked mackerel. And I actually, you will see later on that I didn't even need to add all of this in there. I did not add all of this in there because I didn't need it. However, I have seen in a few videos where they really like the smoked meat, the smoked seafood, or whatever type of smoked meat they're using. Like I said, everyone used something. From what I've seen, they use different things. But this is a substitute. Now, if I get some authentic Nigerians or Africans in the comments that can school me on this or point me in the right direction for next time I want to make this, I will greatly receive that help. And I just want you guys to know this is how I chose to do it. So let's jump to the next scene where I begin to prepare it. And so you just want to make sure you take the bones off. I also did not use the heads. I did not want to use the heads. So that's that. Okay, you guys, so in the future, if you're using cow foot or anything, I recommend just using a pressure cooker because the cow foot was taking a long time. So in the future, I will just be using my pressure cooker. But after the 15 minutes of steaming it on the stove, and you want to then pour some water in it, like kind of cover it and let it simmer until it's fully cooked. But like I said, I just ended up taking this out of here and putting it inside of my pressure cooker because it was taking too long and I was ready to move on, honey, to get the meat real tender. So that's the little American twist I threw with it, I guess. And then what you see me doing here is I'm going to create this sauce, palm oil sauce that's going to go inside of the stew once the stew is done. Now, I saw CeCe use locust bean, but I didn't have access to locust bean. And so I used what I had. And so you want to use, I would say I use maybe like almost a cup of this palm oil, red palm oil. And then I'm going to add in the vegetables that you guys saw me chop. I'm going to add the vegetables in here. I'm also going to add in that puree, the vegetable puree, and mix that all in and let that simmer on low and slow, honey. And then I'm going to show you guys what I end up adding in next and how I actually made it. So let's jump to the next scene. Guys, don't these colors just look so beautiful. Like, they just look so colorful. And man, that palm oil is definitely an African, like they add it to a lot of their different dishes, and I really love it because it just adds a light, beautiful color to your dish. I just love it, y'all. And so I'm gonna show you guys. This puree was so spicy because I blended up like a whole habanero in there. So I ended up only adding in 2 tablespoons of that sauce because I didn't want to burn my family up. Like, I didn't want them to be too, them to have heartburn or nothing, because we're not used to eating really spicy food. So I put the other, stored the other in the freezer for a later date. But now I'm going to show you guys what I did to make this crayfish powder, because you want to add crayfish powder in here too, along with the locust bean, but I didn't have locust beans. So I took these really, really small fishes, shrimp. To me, they look like shrimp, but I think they're like little small crayfish, maybe a Chinese type of crayfish, because they're tiny. I took those, you guys. Those are little shrimp, if you can see. Little bitty shrimp, y'all. I got them from the Asian store. And I put them inside of my coffee grinder, okay? Like, it's like a coffee grinder. And I grinded it up, and I added in my own seasonings, you guys. I added in garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, a little bit. And they're salty too, so I didn't even need to add in no salt. Yeah, and I also added in clove and nutmeg. If you go look up how to make crayfish powder on your own, you will figure out there's different ways to make it. I tried to make it the way someone was trying to teach me, but it didn't have no flavor, so I had to add in my own little pizzazz, honey, to make it taste better. So that's what I did, and I added in a fair amount, as you just saw, of that. And so I just let this simmer. I remember that CC also told me that you don't want to add the crayfish powder in, like if you add it in right away with the palm oil before you add in your vegetables or the locust bean, that it will burn, that it can burn easily. So I'm happy I added it in this way because it didn't burn. So I just let this simmer for a good 3 to 5 minutes, you guys, and then you will see me later on add it to my pot. So that's that part, y'all. Oh, it looked good. So now, you guys, I added all of my stew from the pressure cooker back to the pot, y'all, and it's done. So I don't know why it's this high, why I have this up high. It should have been on low, but I was just like confused at this point, because I'm like, I hope this tastes good, mine. I just hope it tastes good, mine. So you want to have it on low. You don't want to end up it's already cooked. It doesn't need to be this high. But anywho, as you guys saw, I added in maybe a half a cup of the smoked meat, the smoked mackerel and the herring. I didn't need much. I really didn't need much. And then I'm adding in the sauce, as you guys see right there. And this is going to just give it that flavor. It's going to give it that punch, kick, punch. It's all in your mind. And it's gonna, you just want to let this simmer. Put this on like medium low heat and let this simmer, you guys, and let all those flavors just get into it. Okay. You guys, so I forgot to tell you that I also added in these blue crab, because they also use some type of seafood in here. So I added in 3 blue crabs that I had cleaned, and I just let them simmer in here. So everything simmered again for maybe I would say about a good 10 minutes. So what I was taught is that when you're adding in this okra, you only want to add it in towards the end when the meal is done. You got everything mixed together, because it loses its nutritional value if it cooks more than 5 minutes. So I added it at the end, and I cooked it for let it simmer for an additional 3 to 5 minutes. And I pretty much just turned everything off, on low, because it was already done. So as this blends in, you guys, as it simmers and it kind of melts in with the sauces and all the juices and everything, it loses its extreme, it loses its extreme texture, slimy texture, the okra does, and which I thought was so amazing. And it was all because I chopped it finely. It's crazy, y'all. I don't know. But anyways, I just let this simmer for 3 to 5 minutes on low heat, you guys. And let me show you what is next. Ta-da! This is what is next, y'all. We are done. Now, do you see? You see? It's not really slimy at all, y'all. Like, this is, come on, y'all. And during this time, I wasn't able to eat this. But honey, if I had been able to eat it, I would have tore this up. Can y'all believe that I cooked this without tasting it one time? Because during this time, I couldn't taste it because of my diet and everything. But my husband said it was amazing. And you guys will see in the video, the mukbang. So I hope y'all stay tuned. How good that look, man. Don't tell me I'm not a good cook, bro. Like, get out of here.